What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it truly helps out our channel. Now, yesterday over on Patreon, we did have a couple of new members. We had Kim Louise Sparks, and we also had Rosie. Thank you so much for your support. And over on YouTube, we had Tosha Paulson, and we also had Jack Attack MG. Thank you so much for your support. I cannot believe still you guys support me in the way you do, and for everyone for just taking the times out of your day to be here. It is truly inspiring and keeps me going every single day, so thank you so much for being you. And with that being said, let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. I hope you've had a great weekend so far. Now, our first story comes from Torn Am I the Arsehole? Bit of a random one there. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister she was dating my bio father? So, my life's turned into a bloody soap opera recently, and I could use some outside opinions here. I, 24 female, am the product of my mum having an affair. Fortunately, my dad decided to forgive my mum and keep me, and had a pretty good upbringing. But I don't really look a lot like the rest of my family. I'm the only redhead among other things. And I did ask questions of why am I only one with insert trait here, nature growing up. When I was 17, my mum took me out for ice cream and introduced me to my bio father. She said that she felt I was old enough to know the truth, and explained about her affair, while also A, making me promise I wouldn't tell my older sister, 27 female in the present, and B, hammering home along with my bio father that he'd never be a part of my life and didn't want me. It was a lot, I won't lie, but I learned to suck it up and move on with my life. Fast forward to the present, my big sis has always gravitated towards older men. We like to joke that's a result of too many George Clooney movies growing up, and 2 months ago shared a picture of herself and a new boyfriend, who to my shock turned out to be my bio father. I debated what to do for a couple of days and ultimately decided she needed the truth and told her. My sister did not take it well and dumped him, but she wasn't angry with me. Honestly, by now she's kind of amused. Says that since she banged my dad, she's my mum and has extra power to boss me around now. My mum, on the other hand, is furious. She says I divulged something that wasn't my secret to share, and that I have no business telling anyone. That, since my bio father isn't related to my sister, it didn't matter if he dated my sister, and it wasn't like they were talking marriage anyway. It's been 2 months and she's still angry, still snide, calls me a traitor and finds excuses to make loud comments about how I can't be trusted with anything private or important, so be aware. At the time, I thought I was doing the right thing, but I've never seen my mum this angry before, and she sustained that anger for 2 solid months, so I'm starting to worry. Did I actually do something really shitty? Am I the arsehole? Edit. Wow, this took a lot more comments than I expected. I can't answer everyone, but I do appreciate every comment and the support that I'm getting. 2 months of having your mum furious with you takes quite a toll, so it's been really relieving seeing so many not the arseholes in the comments. Thank you all. I'm trying to read everyone, even if I don't reply. Well, that's rich of your mother to call you a traitor when she's the one who cheated on the goddamn family to begin with. This is all a bit strange, and it's kind of messing with my head too, that the mum doesn't see it's a problem that her daughter is now seeing her ex, and yeah, it's just all kinds of weird and strange to me. And your mum telling you to keep a secret about yourself, about who your bio dad is. It's ridiculous. She can't tell you to keep this secret if you don't want to. This is your life they're talking about. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation, in my opinion anyway. But the world is not quiet says not the arsehole. She needed to know that. That's weird and a little too close to home. Also, it's kind of messed up that your older sister was never told about this key part of her family history. Also, your bio father knew who she was and her relationship to you. That's really weird and creepy. And Broad Elderbury says, not the arsehole, your mum is taking her feelings about herself out on you. And then quotes, calls me a traitor, and then says, she's the one who cheated on her family. Too true. And quotes again, I can't be trusted with anything private or important. And then says the woman who couldn't be trusted to stay faithful to her marriage. It's weird and messed up that your mother wasn't at least bit icked out that her daughter's father was hooking up with her other daughter. Her feelings must be category 4 hurricane right now. Anna Santos1234 says, not the arsehole, it's about your life. You can tell anyone you want. And AK says, not the arsehole, that's creepy as hell. Imagine your sis ended up marrying or having a kid with him or something. Your bio dad would be your brother-in-law, your niece would be your bio sister, and your older sister would be your stepmom. Yeah, no, she needed to know about that, and you're not the arsehole for telling her, as she isn't even mad. Your mum, on the other hand, shouldn't be mad either, because does she seriously want her daughter to marry her fling? And what a crazy one to get started with today. Absolutely messed up. But what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Throwaway Wed F. Am I the arsehole for taking a much needed vacation in the middle of my wife's grief? At around 6 PM Tuesday night, my mother-in-law died. Doctors had discovered that she had an inoperable brain tumour around 5 months ago, and we pretty much knew there was no hope. My mother-in-law had been in a hospice and it was a good facility, but my wife still went into a total zombie mode. So it's been 5 months of non-stop work and no affection or appreciation for any of my efforts. Oh god, here we go. My wife does nothing but eat pre-packaged microwave meals, so I have to cook dinner for our 15-year-old daughter. She never makes an effort, to the point of wearing sweats even to work, and worst of all, she went from showering every day to maybe twice a week. My daughter made my wife a cake for her 45th birthday 3.5 months ago. I knew that my 45th birthday, which was yesterday, would be given no attention because doctors had said again that this was the end, and my wife has done nothing but cry when she hears that. I called some family and friends who all live in Arizona, and they said I deserved to have a good birthday. So I agreed to go back home for the week to celebrate and catch up. My wife got furious when she heard I was going, and she started begging and crying that she would control her outward expressions of depression and grief if I stayed, and said that she felt it was true this time, even though we had like 4 false alarms regarding her mother before. In addition, her mother and I had never been close, and I know I don't land anywhere close to the top people she wants to see before she passes. My wife said she had worked to be less distant, and she does not care if we lose the money if I had already booked a plane ticket. I told my wife that I didn't need her to pretend to act less distant, and I know she's grieving in a way I've never grieved before, but that I was no help to her right now and was so fatigued that I needed a break. So I ended up flying down to Arizona, and on Tuesday night I get a call that my mother-in-law had passed from my daughter. She said she's staying at her best friend's house and she's perfectly fine. However, my wife texts me and says I betrayed our wedding vows. I asked if I should come back, when we were expecting a lot of old family friends for my birthday, and my return flight is on Sunday. My wife says to do whatever I want, and that I'm expecting my old work out every day and dress it up everyday wife back when I get home. I will be disappointed. Am I the arsehole for taking this trip because I needed to do something for myself, or else I'd go crazy? I will be flying back Sunday, but I know my wife will be barring me from helping with a funeral. And I just want to start with a comment straight away to clear something up, because it was a bit of a confusing start, with Evil Grebo, who says, at first I thought you were saying it had been 5 months since her mother died, but now that I see she was in hospice for 5 months and she only died a few days ago. You're the arsehole with a cherry on top. And Nick had also replied to that saying, good point there. I also thought it had been 5 months of grieving, but then I read your comment and reread the thread. It's not even a week, yet holy mother, this guy is the arsehole of the highest order. I hope he is welcomed by divorce paper. The wife deserves much better. Now this post is definitely going to be an arsehole post, simply because the way I read it anyway, the guy is just literally talking about himself the whole way through. Oh, poor me all the time, poor me. Well, your wife it sounds like going through some sort of depressive state, some sort of depression going on here. And in a normal situation, I would say absolutely you need time for yourself as well. You do need to look after yourself and take breaks. If someone is grieving and you're having a hard time dealing with it, absolutely take a break. I'm not saying fucking go across the country to celebrate your birthday. Hell no, not that. But I mean taking some time for yourself to go and have a walk around the park or something like that. Just looking after your mental health. But this isn't a normal situation. This guy has failed his wife massively, going to celebrate his birthday while his wife is suffering. It's ridiculous. And he's also shown his daughter how to not deal with grief in this situation. Myself, and you guys know my situation, how many people have died over the last couple of years, and I've seen some strength in my family and myself too, and the way that we support each other. Yes, you absolutely do need to take breaks from one another once in a while, and I'm not, as I said, not fly across the country and take weeks away or days away at a time, but just take that moment to recover yourself, and then you can support one another once again. But this guy, man, wow. Yeah, just wow. But Shira-Mum4 says, you're the arsehole, all you do is complain. It's exhausting to cook dinner for a child who is perfectly capable of cooking dinner for herself. You're upset that your wife isn't wearing makeup and nice clothes. This is exhausting for you. Too bad, it's not about you. I'm fairly certain you ended your marriage with your actions. Amando Grogu says, way to make this entire situation completely about yourself. You wanted a good time, so decided to abandon your wife during possibly the worst time of her life. Then you didn't even go back after her mother had died because you wanted a birthday party. Yes, you're the arsehole. And Mikey Weasel says, you're the arsehole, you will have many birthdays. If you live to 85, you have another 40 to look forward to. Your wife has one mother, so you really should have been there to support your wife, even if you feel nothing for your mother-in-law. Honestly, this is the sort of thing that would be a major question in whether or not your wife wants to continue being married. And Jellybaby51 says, you're the arsehole, your wife is obviously depressed and in need of support, and you abandon her. Nicely done, arsehole. And Caro says, you're the arsehole 110%. You're making this all about you. Your wife lost her mother and you are bemoaning that you have to make your daughter dinner and that your wife is wearing sweatpants. And Edgelord Coffee says, you're the arsehole, you think your situation is rough. Her mum died. Entry level empathy should tell you that she needs all the love and support she can get. But as her husband, you should be far past entry level when it comes to loving your wife. You are not completely callous and uncaring for her pain. You abandon her in her time of need. On top of that, the way you speak about the situation reeks of emotional manipulation. Your wife doesn't owe you a shower, she doesn't owe you home-cooked meals, you don't owe her the common decency of taking her grief and heartache into account without making everything about you. You're the arsehole, apologise to her and do better. Now, I turn this one to you guys. Wow, this one really pissed me off, to be quite honest. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And our next story comes from Throwaway Neighbour. Am I the arsehole for telling neighbour's wife why I stopped hanging around their kids? I, 27 male, just moved into my new house a couple of months ago in a nice neighbourhood. It was a house my late uncle was renting out and left it to me. The neighbours next door have 2 kids, ages 8 and 11. When I first moved in, I started taking up painting outside. Not a professional, but I used to love it in high school, so I decided to try again, since I'm not really busy with work and have the free time. The boys would notice me outside in the afternoons, and the eldest asked me once if they could borrow my paint, so they can make something too. And that's where it started. I'm a kids guy and hope to have my own one day, so I let them start coming over to paint after they were done with school. We got along great and they enjoyed learning how to paint. Their mum hangs around when I'm outside with them to look at their work and I'll chat with her. This has been an everyday thing for the last couple of months. Well, until a few weeks ago when the dad approached me. This is the second time I've seen him since I've moved. He never leaves the house even when they do. He was really mad because he didn't appreciate me flirting with his wife in front of his own house, and also doesn't like that I'm using his kids just to talk to her. This caught me by surprise. I've never behaved in any way that would be inappropriate around her. Most of our talks are about her kids or everyday stuff. I did try to explain and apologise if I crossed any lines, but he just said to keep my distance from his family, so that's what I ended up doing. When the kids would come over, I'd tell them that I'm stuck with work stuff. It makes me sad to bum them out, but I didn't want to overstep with their dad. Then on Friday, neighbour's wife came out while I was watering my lawn. She said she hopes they didn't bother me too much and was sorry if they took up so much of my time. It's because she thought I stopped having the kids over because I was tired of them or something. I didn't want her feeling bad since it probably seemed that way with how abruptly I ended the painting sessions, so I told her that her husband didn't seem happy about it and he asked me to keep my distance. Didn't go into details, I only said that I didn't want to upset him. It was obvious she didn't know from her reaction, but she thanked me for telling her. But that just seemed to make things worse because he came at me this morning even worse than before. He was beyond pissed that I told her anything and now it's my fault they had a fight. Now I feel awful. I really hate conflicts and the last thing I wanted was to make my new neighbours hate me for causing them issues. Thinking back now, should I have told her anything? I really didn't want any issues but ended up doing that anyways. Was I the arsehole for the way I handled things here and causing them problems? Hell no, you're not the arsehole in this situation in my opinion. You wasn't causing problems, you was out enjoying your garden doing the painting. Some kids come along and you was kind enough to share your experience with them. You're a bloody good person for doing you and you should keep doing you. Sod that guy, man. The guy is clearly got some sort of insecurities and jealousy going on and that's a him issue. The wife clearly has no problem with it, so I'd carry on doing what you want to do. If you want to carry on painting, you carry on painting. And if them kids come across again, absolutely get involved. But at the same time, I would understand where you're coming from, that you don't want to cause issues and you just don't want that sort of drama on your doorstep. I'm very much like that too. I fucking hate drama. Say to most people, I got enough of that shit in my life. I don't need any extra, you know. And what is with the husband in this situation, not talking to his wife about how he feels uncomfortable, what was going on? Instead, he came directly to you. It just screams jealousy, doesn't it, in the end? So yeah, absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. I hope your painting does continue. But Mikey Weasel says not the arsehole and quotes, he was beyond pissed that I told her anything and that was my fault they had a fight. Yeah, no one's an arsehole here. The reason they had a fight is because he's a possessive and insecure small man who lets their paranoia hurt the relationships of his wife and kids. I'm sorry this has happened to you, but more sorry for his family. Even if you are the first person he has driven off, you will not be the last. You letting her know means she knows what is going on, as opposed to being kept in the dark by her husband. Edit, someone pointed out my original spelling of not the arsehole would count as a judgment contradicting my original judgment. Yeah, I got that too. I even read it out. And Swiggity Blugler says, not the arsehole, her husband could have addressed this with his partner directly. Instead, he wanted to play sneaky and pull some macho shit on you without having to actually address his own wife. That means he knows he's wrong, at least on some level. She needed to know, don't take it personally. Chances are the dude was threatened because he envies the time you spend with his family. And Marzi Dot says, not the arsehole, the husband is trying to control his wife in a roundabout manner, instead of talking to her like a grown-up and having an actual conversation. He's jumped to his own conclusion and felt the need to mark his territory. Absolutely ridiculous. She's allowed to talk to other guys, especially a neighbour who is entertaining their kids. It's good that she knows he went behind her back. If there are any conflicts, he brought it on himself. I'm sorry you and the kids got stuck in the middle of it. Hopefully he'll relax and you can go back to the way things were, but until then, I'll stay clear of them. He sounds aggressive. Better safe than sorry. And Check34 says, you spend time with neighbours' children who approached you and made polite conversation with their mother when she approached you. We're respectful of the father's wishes. We're truthful when you're approached by the mother. You monster. Yeah, no, not the arsehole. This guy's issues are not your problem. He wasn't going to like you simply on the grounds that you exist. Now, what would you do in this situation if you was OP and you got approached like that? Would you carry on doing your own thing? Was he right to tell the mother? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for continuing to let my ex-wife's autistic brother live with me after our divorce? My 42 male ex-wife, 44 female, and I recently separated. We were together for 26 years, we met in high school, and during that time her parents became unable to care for her brother, Brody, 34 male, who is autistic. Brody moved in with my wife and I 10 years ago, and while there was an adjustment period, he lived with us happily since then. My marriage's deterioration was completely unrelated to Brody and was centered around my wife's emotional affair with a co-worker. When deciding what to do about Brody's living arrangements, I stated that Brody could live with me, but my wife overrode me and demanded Brody come with her. I said I don't think this was fair. Because Brody is verbal, he stated his preferences were to stay at my house. His autism is fairly mild and he is capable of making his preferences known. My wife overrode him and took him with her when she moved out. However, since then, he has called me asking me to come get him because he was giving us such a hard time, letting him stay the night for a few days, then a week, and now it's been a few months since he spent the night with her at her apartment. I consider Brody to be my brother too. I've known him since he was 8 years old. I very much have a strong bond with him, and I'd be fine if he stayed living with me until I was old and grey. My ex and her family are very unhappy about the situation, but my argument is and continues to be, if they care about his happiness, they should listen to his opinions. He is an adult. Just because he has autism doesn't mean he doesn't have feelings and preferences. Am I the arsehole for letting my ex-brother-in-law stay against his family's wishes? The dude is 34, is verbal, and like you said, can make his own preferences known. So absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. And I think it's very kind and considerate and sweet of you to be doing exactly what you're doing right now and giving him his own choices. And I just wish that family would take a step back and actually listen instead of just going off at you. But Espinosaurus says, not the arsehole. I actually think this is so sweet that you and Brody have each other. And Comments Honey says, not the arsehole. If he's verbal, he can say exactly what he wants or not. Plus, you're willing to help him. He knows you, and you've known him for the majority of his life, so you know his little quirks. He's lucky to have you. And OP does reply to this saying, thank you. He is very high functioning in the sense that he requires little help. He is self-sufficient in terms of hygiene. He actually sometimes tells me I need to shower if I have a lazy Sunday without showering, lol. The main thing he doesn't like is cooking. He hates the smells and sounds of food being cooked, so he usually stays in his room while I cook and then comes to eat dinner at the table. I know that in terms of autism, we are very lucky Brody is a high functioning as he is. He just has a lot of quirks and social difficulties, which will make living independently impossible. And Wicked Lucky 214 says, not the arsehole, he is 34 and can make the decision. The rest of the family is being controlling. And Type 1 Error says, your wife betrayed you and you were still able to set aside your feelings about her to protect her brother. She is the one who caused the divorce and she cannot, and neither can her family. You are not the arsehole, you are a good man, and the world would be a better place if more men had your character. And ELA Revolutionary 2015 says, not the arsehole, autistic people are people. He's articulated that he wants to be with you. His wishes should be respected, especially since you are willing to continue caring for him. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed today's stories. Let me know if you are enjoying them. And tomorrow we have a members video as well as the usual videos too. So keep an eye out for that on the main channel because I'm not sure if it does notify members when it does become available. But you will be able to see them on the main channel page and they do appear in the community section of the channel. So make sure you keep an eye out there. And if you do want to join the channel, you can by clicking that join button down below or heading on over to Patreon, link in the description below, and you can join up over there. And the videos do get posted on Patreon too. Anyway, thank you once again for your support, your time, your love. I absolutely love it and I love you guys for doing you. Thank you so much and I hope you have a great week ahead of you next week. Monday, guys, Monday. Oh, help us. See you soon, guys. Much love.